like brings her in the Jeep up on the knoll and he's showing her where he's going to build that house. And you're like, wow, that looks like really pretty. It must be beautiful. That is not where he built the house. The house that he built in that he talked about when we went to the ranch, because I did go there.
See, I'm telling you, Jim has a type. Dollywood, Loretta's Ranch. Like, this is,
Whatever. No, it's Tennessee. It's country music. It's part
uh-huh.
of their roots and things, right?
You like
So
women with big boobs, big hair, big shoes, big dresses.
I, well, I just like strong women. How about that?
Okay.
And women that
That's why
have
he likes me.
a persona, women that are a little bit larger than life. I know.
Okay.
So, you go to look at this house and you go in there and you look through it and you're like, okay, all right. So they lived here however long. It's very dated. She's not a decorator. But if you remember, there was commercials that she used to do for Crisco,
You think
the
I
whatever.
remember that? I was not born.
Well, she used to do these commercials for Crisco, and she actually filmed them there in her kitchen, in her real kitchen of her house, though. So you're in that kitchen and you're looking at it and you're like, oh my gosh, this was from those commercials, right? And they say, if you look out the kitchen window, you can see that house that they were going to build. So I'm looking all up here and I'm like, I don't see nothing up there. And she's like, no, no, it's right there. It's literally like 20 feet behind that ranch. And I was like, what? In the movie, they ran up on the knoll and they did all this. The house was literally right over there. So,
Do you think
but
they glamorized him a little bit? Like that he was going to do this beautiful thing for her, but in real life, he wasn't that nice. He was like, I'm going to build this shack 20 feet away.
it wasn't a shack. It just looked kind of very ordinary, which I
Well,
think
they
is
were,
is
yeah.
her in a sense. But they've had a really troubled thing, like across. So the town has like this little river that runs through it. One of her children drowned in the river. She has a museum over there that's got all a bunch of different dresses and awards, and it has all her stuff in it. And then there's a replica of the house from her childhood
Mm-hmm.
that you can go and walk through as well as part of this museum tour. And a campground, and which is why we ended up there because we were in our RV traveling the country. But I just I just thought it was so interesting that they made such a big deal about going up there and having this conversation when it was literally right behind their
But I
house.
don't think it was as much about the house as it was about, he says that silly line about divorce, and she's like, well, there's supposed to be the bedroom over here, like
Right.
it, yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's as much about the house. But hey, question for you. Who's Lynn? Because there's Doolittle and Loretta, and neither one of their last names were Lynn. Do you know where that
His
came from?
last name was Lynn, Doolittle Lynn.
Oh, it was?
Yes.
His name was Doolittle Lynn?
Well, I think his name was not probably
Doolittle Lynn,
Doolittle,
Doolittle
but
Lynn, Doolittle.
his I think his real name was something else, but they called him Doolittle. And
Oh,
his name
okay.
was Lynn. So
Okay.
she became Loretta Lynn when she married him.
Got it. Okay, because I was like, did they both just adopt a new last name? Which is fine. My cousin did it.
Right? She wrote over 100 songs herself, right?
She's
That she
amazing.
wrote.
Amazing.
But sadly enough, she didn't own the publishing rights to all of them.
Oh.
The publishing rights, like Dolly owns all of her publishing rights, right? Which is like one of those stories about like I Will Always Love You, right? That Elvis wanted to record I Will Always Love You, and Dolly was so excited she was going to do it. But then Elvis said any song that he does, he owns the publishing rights to it. And Dolly said, I'm not going to do that because I expect these songs to support me in my old age. They're like my children.
Good for Dolly.
So Dolly didn't do it, and Elvis said, "Well, then, manager at the time said, no, we're not going to do it." And Dolly was so kind of heartbroken, right? Who at that time Elvis was like a big star. It was like who wouldn't want your song to be sung by Elvis? It's like what an amazing feat. And she was so heartbroken over it. She said until Whitney Houston sang it in The Bodyguard, and then
It
she
was
got
really
over
meant
that
for
really
Whitney.
fast.
Yeah, it was meant for Whitney.
So to think that she didn't own all that, but still her net worth at her death was 65 million for Loretta Lynn. So
Wow.
she, continued touring throughout her life. I brought my husband to see her once at a casino, a free concert that they were doing. And I felt bad because she brought her sister. So her sister, Crystal Gale, if you don't know who Crystal Gale is, you have to look that up.
He's gonna make me watch another movie about Crystal Girl.
It's not, nope, she doesn't have a movie about her life, or at least not that I know of, but if she does, we need to watch it. Because I'm interested to see, because they didn't touch on that. And Crystal Gale had a career of her own in her own right. But this sister was not Crystal Gale. She was not a good singer. She was also like 80 at the time. So it was just really weird. And Todd's like, why did you bring me here? But she, she had quite a very wholesome, like sort of feel, she performed in like ball gowns that you would use for going to the prom, back in the day
Her
or whatever.
sister?
No, Loretta, and her
yeah.
sister looked very different and was interesting. So, family is always a big thing, I think, in any of these, families from the South and stuff. And I thought it was really good. And I thought she did a transformative performance. She deserved her Oscar, Sissy
I think
Spacek.
she definitely did too. I think he probably deserved one too. I'd like to know who robbed him. Was he even nominated?
I don't know. I have to look that up.
We should probably look that up. We'll report back on that.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious if Tommy Lee Jones was nominated. Because he should have been. Honestly, I think he did a really, really incredible job as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall.
Yeah.
Again, I give it a thumbs up because I do think it's a good movie. It's not a movie that's going to stick with me. I'm probably not going to like all of a sudden be thinking about it as I still do sometimes.
But there's going to be times when I'm going to reference something to you.
That's true.
I'll be like, Andrea, you're acting like a bear, just like a big old bear. Because that's what she used to say about her husband.
And I'm going to start growling. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, so I'd say I give it a thumbs up. I don't think I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah.
But I give it a thumbs up. I wouldn't rush out to tell someone to watch it.
I would tell somebody to watch it because I do think it has a good story. It has multiple points to it. And it does give a presence to what you can do if you set your mind to it. Now, I think she was pushed.
I was just going to say, I don't think she set her mind to do that.
But she wanted it because he gave her the option. She could have walked away at a couple of different points from it, right? He set her on that path. It was almost like he knew this was her calling, that she would do really well at it. And so, but then she, just needed that push, and he gave her that push.
Yeah. It was like a drag.
Okay.
It was more of a drag than a push.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I give thumbs up. What should our poll be about?
I don't know.
I kind of want to know people's feelings on her husband's character. Like, did you love him? Did you hate him? Or were you like me, where you're like, I'm so confused about what I feel for this man because he's kind of charming and sweet to her, and he's also kind of awful.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Were you a fan of Doolittle or no?
Okay, that will be our poll.
Yeah.
The next movie we're watching is is it called The Meyerowitz Stories?
I think so.
Wait, hang on. It's the Adam Sandler movie. I believe it's called The Meyerowitz Stories.
Hopefully that's it.
If that's not it, we will correct ourselves next week.
Right.
But I do know that it's Adam Sandler. I do know that it's Adam Sandler. Yeah. So tune in next week for our special Thanksgiving Adam Sandler Meyerowitz possibly story review.
Talk to you then.
Bye.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye.